this live section. So today we'll learn how to cut. You are going to first of all draft a corset palazzo jumpsuit. So that's tutorial for today. Okay, you're welcome. You're highly welcome. So here I have my pattern paper. I'll be drafting the upper bodice on this my pattern paper. Okay, so after I'll go ahead and cut out the down part, which is the pants or the jumpsuit on our main fabric. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, I'll first of all, I'm going to first of all measure my, remember this is a corset jumpsuit. Okay, so now the upper part first, and the corset, the front is going to have this a more like a V shape. So I'm going to first of all get the from the shoulder to where I want my upper part to stop. So here, because of the, it's going to have a basque waistline, so I'll be using 24 inches for the basque. So let me just mark out this line. I just want to make a line here. Okay, so now this will be my length. This is my blouse length, the upper part, the length of the upper part. So from here, I'll be using 24 inches. You can use 23, depending on how pointy you want it. Okay, so 23 plus 1 inch for the sewing allowance, so that will be 24 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark. So here is my shoulder line. Okay, so this is my starting line, which is the shoulder line. So remember, the upper part, there will be a yoke. So there will be a yoke on the part. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and input my shoulder measurement, and the shoulder measurement I'm working on is 16 divided by 2, which is 8. We're going to add extra ½ inch for joining or sewing allowance. So here, then to get my armhole, you can divide your bust measurement by 6 plus extra 1.5 inches, or you can go ahead and simply use your shoulder measurement. Shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8. So I'm going to come down by my shoulder slope first, ½ inch. Then from there, I'll go ahead and mark my armhole or chest line, which is the 8 inch. So this is, so I'm starting with the basic bodice first. So from here, I'll just go ahead and blend this line into this place, the shoulder slope. So I've blended it into, I hope my, yeah, okay, it's clear. I was trying to check if the camera is okay. So after that, now the next, I'm going to impute my neckline. So I'll be using standard for now, 3 by 3. So the standard neckline. So I'll go ahead and connect. Okay, so after that, the next thing now is to get our vertical measurement. So from here, our shoulder to, so this is my chest line.
Excuse. Good morning. The other day I was not able to come. Were you able to cut?
You see your girl. You see you saying your girl.
Yeah, we came late.
Send her again.
I should send her. Okay.
Alright.
I hear.
I'll cut it when I'm done.
Okay.
So,
Please, on the time, you
Oh,
do it fast for me.
I will. I will.
You know I'm going for a few minutes. You didn't do it.
I will do it. Sorry for the interruption. So this is my chest line. So the next measurement I'm working on, I'll go ahead and input my bust point. So I have the bust point of 10 inches here. So this is the bust point. Then the under bust is 13 and a half, which is here. Then the waistline, shoulder to waist measurement is 17 inches, but I want this to come down a bit. So I'll be using 2 inches below, which is 19 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 19 inches here. So I have the chest line, bust points, under bust, the waistline, and the BL or the top ring. So after this now, we'll go ahead and on the under bust measurement, I'll be putting my bust span measurement. Your bust span divided by 2 or nipple to nipple measurement. I'm using 4 inches, 8, so which is 4 divided by 2, 4. Then I added half inch from here to the under bust. Remember, we are going to be using this already made cap, so we are starting from the under bust measurement. So after that, so from the waistline, I'll go ahead and mark my darts. So I'll be using half inch on both sides. So here I will come up here by half an inch. So I'll connect, or you can decide to cut it. You can bring the half inch straight down. You can decide to blend it in. So 1 inch. Okay. So after that now I'll go ahead and connect it to the under bust like this. So you can decide to blend it in or you leave it this way, whichever way. So having done that now, okay, let's work on our shoulder. So my bust measurement is 38 divided by 4 here. So I'll get the midpoint of my armhole, which is 4 inches here. So I'll come in here by 4, by half an inch. So I'll go ahead and connect the points. Okay, this is our front armhole. So now we are going to bring in our cuff. Go ahead and place your cap like this. So you can see what I have here. So from this point now, let's see, I have about 9.5 inches. So I have about 9.5 here. This is where the cup is sitting. So from this point now, I will come in by half an inch. Half an inch. So I'll come in by half an inch. So I'm going to place my cap to the point like this. So after that, I'll go ahead and trace this cap. So here, so I will gently hold it. I'll trace. Okay. So this is what I have from the under bust. So from here, let's see the type of neckline we are working on. So okay, so it's a more like a keyhole. It's not so visible, but we're going to make it like a keyhole. So remember our dart is 4.5 here. So for us to get our keyhole neckline, so this is the normal neckline 3 by 3. So I'll go ahead and come down by 2 inches or 1.5. Okay, I'll come down by 2 inches here. So from here you're going to connect to form your keyhole, or you can use 1.5 because it's more like a tiny keyhole here. So I'm using my nipple to nipple measurement where the keyhole, if you want it to be more wider, you can go ahead. So I'm using the dart or the nipple to nipple. I hope this is clear. My marker is too floating. So so this is our neckline. We have 3 inches. Then we came down by 1.5 for a keyhole neckline. You can come down by 2, depends. So I'm using 1.5 inch. So after that, now the next thing is for us to impute our measurements, our body's measurement. So here I have my 38. So I'm going to insert my sewing allowance. You choose the sewing allowance of it. You can use 1.5. So on the underbust measurement, I have the underbust of 32 inches here. So you add your sewing allowance. So remember here, I'll be sewing this dart. I'll be sewing it by half an inch here. So I'll just go ahead and add that. I will replace that half an inch and my sewing allowance. So the waistline, I have waist of 32 inches as well. So here is my waist. I'm going to replace my dart, then my sewing allowance here. So remember, it's a basque waistline. So I'll connect. So this is what we have here. So after this, now the next thing is to connect the basque effect. So I'm going to slant it. You can use a straight rule. Connect it into the center front like this. So this is it. So these are basque. Okay, so now for me to cut, if I want to cut this out, so I'm going to add half an inch or 3/4 of an inch around this measurement like this for sewing. Okay, so this upper part is the yoke. So why this is the down part? We are using our already made bra cup. So now I'll go ahead and cut this out so that we'll go ahead and cut out and drag the back. So first of all, so I'll be cutting out these darts. You can decide to add it directly if you don't want to cut it out. But I want to cut it out. Okay, so this is the front. So you see, so from here, you can see when we close it, that it's not going to be equal. So what you're going to do, you can go ahead and place it together. Then you will reshape it. You're going to reshape this part. Then this is our yoke. So we'll go ahead and cut out the neck. Okay guys, so this is what we have. This is the yoke. The yoke. So this is the center front and the side. So I'm going to put this aside so that I'll cut out the back. So I'll first of all mark out so this is the our waistline. Remember I used 19 inches for the waist. So plus sewing allowance. So 19 inches. So then here we are going to impute this is the shoulder line, our basic body. So here you are not going to be using zipper allowance because you are going to be using eyelets. Are going to be it's going to be a corset. So here is the armhole. So after that, remember I used 3 inches standard neck and I'll be using 2 inches for the back. So I'll go ahead and connect. So after that now the next thing is to impute the bust point 10.5, then the under we don't need under bust because I'm not doing waist matching. Then here I'll be using the okay, I'll just go ahead and mark this for the under bust. So this is the bust point here and this is the waistline. So here now I'll impute our nipple to nipple measurement for the darts. So this is the chest line. This is our chest line. Then the shoulder slope. Okay. So from this waist, I will mark half an inch on both sides. And I'll connect it to this bust point. Okay, so after that, now the next thing is to, we're going to determine, so these are, we're going to determine the kind of yoke. So for the back yoke, is going to look similar like the front. So here I also come down by 1.5 or 2 inches, like so. So remember, this is our bust. The same thing we did at the back here. This is the nipple thing at the front rather. So I'm going to also connect, go ahead and connect it. So this is for the back yoke. So remember, it's a corset dress. Okay, so for the corset, I'm going to eliminate 1.5 inch for my loops. So here is the 1.5. So here I will mark it off. This here will be cut out. So then, so this is the back yoke. So for us to determine how deep, you can decide to use your chest line for the neck depth for the back, or neckline for the back. But I'm going to be using 10 inches from shoulder to 10 inches. So depends, you can just decide to use it. You cut this out, this will be the down part, or you can decide to come down. You can use 9 inch, maybe 1.5 or 1 inch below your chest line, or you can just measure from here to your desired length. So then you make a straight line, or you slant it through. You can decide to slant like so. You can see. So, or you can decide to use the chest line, or you connect straight. So now we'll go ahead and I'm going to, okay, this is my under bust line. So here I'll go ahead here. So my measurement will start from here. So I'm going to mark my bust measurement is 38 minus 1.5. So I have 9. Then you add your sewing allowance. So here the same thing, the underbust, the waist and the underbust measuring, they are the same. So here the waist measure, we are not snatching, we are just, okay guys, so now this is what I have. So this is it. So this is the back. So I'll go ahead and cut out my darts, of course. But I'm not going to cut through so that I will not misplace my my pattern. So I'll just go ahead and cut it like this. So center back and the side. Okay. And this is the yoke. So it's going to start like this. So we are going to use our eyelets at the back. I'll still cut it through when I'm cutting on my main fabric. So I'll put this aside. So now we are going to cut the down part. Like I said, I'll be cutting directly on my fabric for this down part. So for me to fold the down part, which is the pant side, okay, so I'm going to use your thigh measurement for this. Remember, normally when we are cutting our pants or tra, we always fold with the fullest part of measure, which is the thigh, because the thigh is divided by 2 while the hip is divided by 4. So I hope this chalk will be visible. See. Okay, so my thigh measurement is, I have my thigh measurement of 26. So 26 divided by 2, that will be 13. So I'm going to go ahead and add extra half, which is 13.5. Yeah, so okay, so I have it like so. So remember, this is a jumpsuit. So I will cut the upper part. The upper part I use 19 inches. So I'm going to minus down 19 inches here. So I'll go ahead and minus or subtract my 19 inches so that I'll get my full length. So here, I hope this white chalk is visible. Okay, so here I've marked so here will be my waist line. So I'm going to subtract the 19 inches. I used 19 inches, so I'll subtract my 19 inches, then I will mark my vertical measurements. So I will get my full length, and the full length is 59. So 50, now go ahead and add extra 2 inches for hemming. So here I have my 2 inches. So you mark it, you get your full length. So from here, I'll go ahead and mark my waist, my hip line. So I'm using 24 inches for the hip line. So I've marked my hip line. So the next line I will mark my knee length. So the knee length is 36. Right, I'll use 37. So this is my knee length. So after marking the knee length, for us to get our crotch length, so from the waist measurement, you are going to divide your hip measurement by 4. So the hip measurement I have is 43 inches, 42 inches rather. So 42 inches divided by 4, that is 10.5. I'm not going to mark exactly 10.5 because this is a jumpsuit. So I'll go ahead and add, you can add 2 inches or 3 inches, okay? So I'll go ahead and add extra 3 inches for free. You can add 2.5. So you go ahead and mark it. So that is here. So here becomes my, you can add 2 inches, 2.5 or 3 inches to your hip measurement for you to get your crouch line. So this is my crouch line. This is my waist, my hip line, the crouch line, and the knee line. So now the next thing we are going to do, we are going to input our waist measurement. Okay. So from here, from this crouch line, I will input my hip divided by 4, which is 10.5. So I'm going to mark it from your crouch line to your waistline. Okay. So because I want to add allowance here, remember we are going to be adding our allowance. So I'm going to shift. I forgot I'm cutting directly on my fabric. Okay. I'm going to add 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. So here, so if you are drafting on pattern paper, after draft you can go ahead and add your allowance. But this is directly on fabric, so I'm adding my sewing allowance. Remember, you can, just in case of future, if the person add weight, you can start to add it normal if you don't want. So from here now I have my hip. So I'll go ahead and add my hip measurements, which is here. You bring it all the way up to your waistline. From the crotch line up to the waistline. So you're going to mark the circumference of your hip measurement divided by 4. So this is what I have here. So after that now, for us to get the waist, so for the waist measure, I'm going to divide my waist by 4. So my waist measurement is 32 inches divided by 4, which is 8. So you mark 8 inches. You're going to add 1 inch for the dart. So this is what I have, 8 inches, then 1 inch for that measurement. So I'll go ahead and connect it to this hip. So this is 1 inch for the dart. Then you can add your sewing allowance. So this is my sewing allowance, 1.5 inch. So from here, remember for the hip line, I added 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance. So I'll go ahead and connect it like this. I hope you understand. So because I want to add my sewing allowance, so this is what I have. So this is my waist measurements, my dart 1 inch for the dart intake, and my sewing allowance 1.5 inches.